Today we'll be working in my workbook called Samuel from Child to Leader of Israel. This covers 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 7. Looking at the table of contents, we have completed the first 5 chapters. And we started with an answer to prayer. That is, Samuel's mother came to Shiloh and prayed fervently because she had no children. She had prayed that if she did receive a son, that he would be dedicated to the Lord for all of his life. And sure enough, she does get pregnant and gives birth to Samuel. And after he's weaned, she brings him to Shiloh to be raised by the priest Eli. Then we have in chapter 3 a comparison between Samuel as he's growing up to the sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, and how bad Hophni and Phinehas are to how good Samuel is. Then in chapter 4, we hear a call from God to Samuel. This is the first time that God has talked to anyone for a long time, so Eli doesn't recognize it right away. But Samuel gets this call from God. Let's say he's 8, 9, 10 years old. And it does tell him, for among other things, that Eli's 2 sons will be killed soon due to their despicable behavior. Then in the next chapter, and don't know that it happened the very next day, but this is how the story is written. The Ark of the God is captured in a battle with the Philistines. And in this battle, Hophni and Phinehas die. When word is brought back from a Benjamite who comes back to Shiloh to spread the word that the Ark has been taken, and 34,000 men were killed, then Eli also finds out that his sons were killed, and Eli gets startled and falls backward from his chair. His head hits a stone and he dies. So we lose all 3 priests at the same time. So now we're going to be talking about the Philistines have trouble with the ark. Just because they captured the ark doesn't mean that they're going to have easy sailing with it. So let's go and take a look at that. The Philistines have trouble with the ark. 1 Samuel 5, 1 through 12. After the Philistines had captured the ark of God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. The Philistines just captured the ark in battle. Who fought whom? The Philistines fought Israel. What 2 cities were involved in the battle? Ebenezer and Aphek. Put an A under the arrowed line for Shiloh to Aphek. All right, I will do that. What does this arrowed line represent? The travel from the Ark of the Covenant travel from Shiloh to Aphek. How many miles is the distance from Shiloh to Aphek? We figured it was about 20 miles. From the battlefield, where did the Philistines take the ark? They took it to Ashdod. Put a B beside the arrow line they described in 4. Okay. How many miles is the distance from Aphek to Ashdod? Well, it looks like almost 20 plus perhaps 10, so maybe 30, maybe 40. In this chapter, we will also be talking about Gath and Ekron. Circle those cities. Okay, so circle Ekron. And then circle Gath. At this time, Jerusalem is not important. Cross it out. Then they carried the ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. What city is this temple in? Ashdod. Where is the worship of Dagon originally from? See below. Dagon. Originally, this was a god from Mesopotamia that the Philistines adopted as their god when they settled in the land of Canaan. This was the god of fishing, of grain, and also of fertility. Mesopotamia. What was Dagon in charge of according to its worshippers? Fishing, grain, and fertility. Do you think by bringing the ark into the temple of Dagon, the Philistines were showing respect or disrespect to the ark, and why? Well, in some ways, it's showing respect in the fact that they're putting it into a temple of all their artifacts they cherish. In some ways, disrespect because they're putting it into another god's temple. So it depends on how you want to look at it, I guess. When the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. The statue of Dagon was probably triple the size and weight of the Ark of the Covenant. It would have been very difficult to move. If the Dagon was to fall, it could have fallen on its side or back, but instead it fell on its face before the ark. Why did God have it happen this way? So that it is facing the ark itself, and so there's no question of the item that caused this, I would think. And also it's just a sense of bowing down to the ark. What do you think the Philistines would have felt to see the huge statue of their god fallen to the ground? Since they believed in the Dagon god, they would have been very upset that this happened. What do you think it will have taken to bring the statue back upright? Well, at least a lot of men, probably pulleys and various things because it's so heavy. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and hands had been broken off and were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. That is why, to this day, neither the priests of Dagon nor any others who enter Dagon's temple at Ashdod step on the threshold. Definition of threshold: this is a strip of metal, wood, or stone forming the bottom of a doorway. What was different with the fallen Dagon this time? His head and his arms had been broken off. What will the priests of Dagon not do after this event? Never step on a threshold. For the statue to have fallen forward in front of the Ark of the Covenant, and yet the head and hands on the threshold, the head and hands must have bounced forward after hitting the ground. Why do you think God would have had this happen? So they're definitely were off the statue. There was no denying it. Who's greater God, the God of Israel or Dagon, the God of Israel? The statue was probably made out of stone. Will the Philistines be able to put the statue back together? Explain. It would be, if they do, it'll be very, very hard. They'll have to reseal the statue back together. Usually it's made out of one big stone. The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and inflicted them with tumors. When the people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, "The ark of the God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon our God." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" Definition of a tumor: it's like a boil or a mass on the skin. When the people of Ashdod don't get rid of the Ark of the Covenant when their god Dagon gets damaged, what next did God of Israel do? He causes illnesses, devastation, and being afflicted with tumors. What do the people ask the rulers of the Philistines? What shall we do with the Ark of God of Israel? And what is a tumor? It's a boil or a mass on the skin. They answered, "Have the Ark of God of Israel moved to Gath." So they moved the Ark of God of Israel to Gath. Put an A on the old line from Shiloh to Aphek. All right. What does the arrowed line in question 3 signify? The trip that the Ark of the Covenant left Shiloh to go into battle. Put a B on the arrowed line from Aphek to Ashdod. Okay. What does the arrowed line in question 3 signify? The Philistines taking the Ark of the Covenant to Ashdod and storing it there in the temple of Dagon. Put a C on the arrowed line from Ashdod to Gath. Okay. Why did the people want the Ark of the Covenant moved out of their city of Ashdod? Because it was causing way too much trouble. Do you think the God of Israel is going to leave the town of Gath alone when the Ark of Covenant arrives there? No. Why? Because it's not theirs, and he caused so much trouble with it in Ashdod. But after they moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into a great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with an outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. What is moved along the arrowed lines? The Ark of the Covenant. What nationality moved it on path A? Israelites. What nationality moved it on paths B, C, and D? The Philistines. What happened to the people in Gath when the Ark of the Covenant was there? They broke out in boils and confusion. If the Philistines are having so much trouble with the Ark of the Covenant, why do you think they keep it? Because it's a big treasure. Made out of gold, it's a major treasure. If God allowed the Ark of the Covenant to be captured, then why is God causing problems whenever the Ark of the Covenant is located? Because in Philistina, he is showing that he is greater than all their other gods. The reason why it was captured is because the Israelites were not praying and respecting God properly. Do you think the tumors disappear once the Ark of the Covenant is moved out of the city? It does give the impression that that is true. As the Ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, "They've brought the Ark of God of Israel around us to kill us and our people." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the Ark of God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people." For the death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Do you think the Philistines finally figured out the best location for the Ark of the Covenant? Why or why not? Um, yes, send it back. Now, this would have been a hard thing because it was a major capture, but they're soon to come to the opinion that it's not worth all the hassle that it's taking. So now we come to the end of the chapter, the crossword. Number 4 crossed. Why won't the priests of Dagon step on? What won't the priests of Dagon step on now? Threshold. 5. The Philistines put the ark in the temple of Dagon. 6. The statue of Dagon's head and hands were broken off. 1 down. What were the people of Ashdod, Gath, and Ekron afflicted with? Tumors. Number 2. What is the country of the Philistines called? Philistina. 3. The Philistines moved the ark from Ebenezer Aphek to Ashdod. And 4. How many times did the statue of Dagon fall in the front of the ark? 2. That's the end of this chapter. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.